There's somebody who's been creating their very own music performances, not only to share online, but also in competition, is Gavin Nellis, who joins me now to tell me a bit about his work. Hello, sir.
Hello, Gavin. How are you?
I'm good. I hope we find you well and creating a soundtrack for many a situation, it seems.
Yeah, so started way back in GCSEs, probably 30 years ago now, doing music.
Mm,
Never with any intention of pursuing it any further, really. It was just something, at school that I kind of fell into.
mm.
Um, but really, I kind of think back to seeing Jurassic Park and loving the film, but loving the music more, to the point where I couldn't wait for the soundtrack to be released.
Now, I have to
Um,
admit, I'm somebody who bought a few soundtracks when I was, again, back in GCSE days. I think I got Gremlins 2. That was a weird soundtrack to buy, but it was great music. And the likes of the Star Wars for
yeah,
soundtrack has also
yeah.
always impressed people. But I mean, film music itself, though, it obviously carries a huge amount of meaning alongside the visuals you see on screen,
Yeah,
and that in itself is an amazing skill to pick up on and to be able to interpret something. And you talk about Jurassic Park there and the way those huge vistas are sort of accompanied by a
yeah,
soundtrack really makes you believe that those dinosaurs running across them are real.
yeah. That's it, isn't it? I think. I mean, I don't know what percentage the music plays in a film. I'd suggest it's probably quite high, really, because it probably could all go wrong if you didn't have the right music playing. Yeah,
So something you did at GCSE. You're a little bit older than that now. So whereabouts, where have you reached? Because like I say I know you've been recently entering competitions.
yeah. I've done a couple of competitions online, just stuff that's appeared on YouTube. But it all really started probably about 9 months into lockdown.
Hmm.
Pottering around at home, not much to do, getting your feeds and your suggestions coming up on YouTube. And one was something like learn music theory in 10 minutes. And I thought, well, this will be interesting. I'll have a look.
10 minutes to spare. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was by a composer and educator called Guy Mitchell Moore,
Hmm.
who's been around for many years now. Um, and it kind of brought back some memories of the music that I did at school. But then didn't think anything more of that. But then started getting more suggestions in, as you do on YouTube. It started sending me more videos on composing and using different tools. And that's where I saw a video on using virtual instruments, because I'd always struggled prior to that. Like over the years, I'd bought keyboard sequencers where you have to play the parts into like a digital recorder
Hmm.
inside the keyboard. And I'm not much of a performer. I say I play on the piano because I can't really claim to play the piano. Um, so I can't do it really in real time, but at a computer where you can move the notes around if you've hit them in the wrong time, or edit if you hit a wrong note, that type of thing. And this is where I started getting into the composing. It's probably about 2021 now.
And when you're looking at putting some music together, I mean, what are your inspirations these days for the competition, for example? Was there a theme you had to work to?
The competitions were pretty much left very open to your own interpretation, which I think makes it more difficult in a competition, because then you're going to be judged on the judge's interpretation as well.
Hmm.
And of course, we all see different things in different scenes, different emotions, and you highlight them with your music. Um, it's much easier when you've got a very defined brief, and the director tells you the different hit points of where he wants a bit of suspense, or where he wants a bit of humor. Because otherwise, you're kind of using your own interpretation, and maybe some influences that you've got yourself of different movies. And you start to think about scenes. Psycho is the classic one, isn't it? That horror genre, getting that shower scene. And
Hmm.
it's very easy. Like, are those violin sounds in Psycho, do they make you think of horror, or is it the other way around? Is it the
Hmm.
horror makes you think of the violins? I don't know which way it is, really.
What's happened so far as turning this into something which is more widely available? Because I know you're sharing things on YouTube, but have you been approached to produce soundtracks for even a short film yet, or?
I've done one, yeah. I've done one which was only very just going out the movie circuit, the short film circuit.
Mhm.
Didn't get released any broader than that, really.
But a
It
lot
was
of these
from
things make their way around the awards circuit before they something
yeah,
happens and they turn up in a compilation or on Netflix later on.
yeah. That's right, yeah. So that's the only one I've done really, and like you say, there's a lot on YouTube that I put on there. I've got a YouTube channel, and I also have my music going out to all the streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music.
Mhm,
But I think like with something like YouTube, I think the figures are something like 3.7 million films or videos get uploaded a day to
mhm.
YouTube. So the chance of being discovered on something like YouTube is extremely slim. You do have to kind of get out there and promote yourself a lot of the time.
What happens next then? So I know, so we've recently had the Wolverhampton Film Festival in our area. So I mean, there's probably if that, hundreds of people there who've been making entries. I know 65 films made part of the festival. I mean, those sort of
Yeah.
people are probably crying out for somebody to come along and produce a soundtrack. So is that the sort of area you want to get into next?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. There's obviously a lot of colleges and universities. It's good to approach them because they may have people that are learning to do movie directing, um, and you can help them with a score for their movie, and they can also help you in return sometimes for maybe putting together like a show reel of your music. So there's quite a bit of collaboration you can do with people like that.
You're at the moment, you're putting yourself there and saying, "Hello, look at me, come along and see where you can use my work."
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I do a lot of music where I've generated a picture using AI. And then using that as the inspiration, that's quite interesting because that can conjure up all sorts of weird and wonderful things depending on, what you put into the prompt.
Hmm. But have you been tempted maybe to go into short film making as well and score something yourself?
I've thought about potentially using AI doing filmmaking. It's not quite at the level yet, though.
Hmm.
It's getting there. The stuff you can do presently is very like 30 seconds. It's very short.
But maybe create a few scenes and see where it goes from there. So, with
Yeah.
the work that you've got out at the moment, how do people find that to have a listen to and enjoy your cinematic approach to the world?
Well, I've got the YouTube channel, which is Ambience of the Abyss. That's mostly ambient music, which it's compared to traditional music, which has a structure and rhythm. Ambient music is far more like an atmosphere or a soundscape. You can kind of get lost in that a little bit. Again, using the AI images, things like post-apocalyptic scenes, you let your imagination run wild as you're listening to some of the ambient music. And then on the streaming platforms, I'll go by the name of Two Tones Higher on that. So there's a lot of the ambient music goes on there as well, and other stuff that I write, for some of the short films potentially that can make it onto there as well.
So, if people to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
On YouTube would be a good way. There's a post a comment, or there's the button there now for adding the email address. You can pop an email over. That'd be brilliant.
So find out more, see whether your world needs a soundtrack, whether it's a short film, a business film, that sort of thing, and see where it goes from there.
Yep,
Give us the
that'd be
details of your
fantastic.
YouTube channel one more time.
It's Ambience of the Abyss.
Check it out, have a listen. We're going to take a listen to a piece now. Which one would you like us to play?
The album I've released recently is called Chrysalis, and each track in that tries to represent the journey through the life of a butterfly. So there's track 7 from that, which is called Morphing. I think that's quite a nice one.
Okay, we'll take a listen to that. Meanwhile, for now, Gavin Nellis, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.